Good evening everyone. Welcome to Abhiram IAS Academy. This is Pavani Reddy Palla. I'm here to discuss the Daily Chronicle series. So let us discuss all the important articles in the Hindu newspaper today. So let us start our discussion with the front page article with the headlines: non-BJP ruled states in the South India oppose the UGC proposed guidelines. Okay. So it should be noted that in January, UGC has proposed certain guidelines relating to the higher education. Okay, so we all know that education is a part of the concurrent list. So where the central and the state can make their own legislations. Okay, so the higher education is also a part of the new education policy 2020. Okay, so new education policy 2020, where we aim to get 50% of enrollment in the higher education institutions by 2035. Okay, so what is the sustainable development goal which is talking about the quality education? It is the SDG 4. Okay, so these are basics we have to remember. Now coming back to the article, the South Indian states like the Kerala, the Telangana, the Karnataka and the Tamil Nadu are opposing the UGC guidelines. So what is the controversy here? So the article says that the provisions allowing non-academicians, including the industry and the public administration professionals, to be appointed as the Vice Chancellors of state universities. So this is the one important controversy, that is the related to appointment of the Vice Chancellor to state universities. Okay, so another important one is related to the minimum enrollment criteria for 3,000 students per institution will adversely affect the colleges serving in the backward areas. Okay, so this minimum enrollment criteria, 3,000 students per institution, is one important controversy, and the other one is the appointment of Vice Chancellor to the state universities. So, if the center is intruding into the appointment of the Vice Chancellor, what is happening? It is going to lead to the centralization of authority. So, it will again impact the federal fabric of India. So, it is important to recollect the judgment given in the Kalyani Mathivanan case. So, in this case, the Supreme Court has said that the UGC regulations can merely be a recommendation. They cannot be mandated in the state universities. So, Supreme Court said in this case that the UGC regulations can only be a recommendations, but they cannot be mandated in the state universities, state-led universities. So, the center's intrusion will become a negative impact on the federalism of India. So, this is one important point. That is why the state governments, which are primarily non-BJP state governments in the South India, are opposing the centralization tendency of the center. Okay, in the education. So, to achieve the goals of the new education policy or to achieve the higher enrollment ratios, we need to give the state universities their own autonomy. So, based on this judgment also, now the states are fighting for their autonomy, freedom of autonomy to have in their state universities. Okay, so this is one point. Make sure you are following all the updates regarding the articles. So, now let us go with the second article, that is the headline says Microsoft unveils the new quantum chip. So, Microsoft has announced Majorana 1, the quantum computing chip. Okay, so where it is holding importance? So, it is holding importance in medicine, chemistry, aerospace and other sectors. So, what is this Majorana 1 or the quantum computing? So, quantum computing is nothing but the application of the quantum mechanics, where we are able to perform the complex calculations at a much faster rate than the traditional classical computers. So the traditional computers are being performing the complex calculations a bit slower. So these classical computers generally use the bits 0 and 1. Okay, so whereas the quantum computing will use the bits which are called as qubits. So what is it? It is the fundamental unit of the quantum information. So qubits are nothing but the smallest unit or the fundamental unit of the quantum information. Okay. So some important concepts related to the quantum computing which we may get in the prelims are the qubits. So just now we have learnt it. They are the fundamental or the smallest unit of the quantum information. Okay. So which have the quantum properties. So this is important. Okay. Next. So superposition is nothing but the ability of the qubit to be in multiple states. So to be in multiple states which will perform different parallel calculations at a time. Parallel calculations at a time. Okay, so superposition means a qubit will be doing multiple functions at a same time. So thereby increasing the fastness of the calculations. Okay, so this is known as superposition. Another important concept is the entanglement. So entanglement means the strong correlation between the qubits which will increase the efficiency of the complex problem solving. Okay, so there is another important concept, entanglement. So what is entanglement? Entanglement is a strong correlation between the qubits which will increase the performance ability. Okay, so this will help the efficiency in information transfer and the computation. Okay, so these are some important concepts which we have to know in the quantum computing, which is very important in our latest developments in science and technology. Right, what can be the potential applications? The potential applications is cryptography. What is cryptography? It is decoding and writing of the different codes, that is called as cryptography. So this quantum computing has potential usages in the cryptography. Next we have the optimization. So it can be optimization used for solving complex problems in the logistics sector, in the finance sector and the AI sector. Next we have the drug delivery system. So with the help of the quantum computing, we can deliver the drug to the perfect target area. In the pharmaceutical research also, there is a potential usage. Next, we have usages in the material sciences. So, discovering of the new type of materials with unique properties can be done with the quantum computing. Next, we have the artificial intelligence and the machine learning. So, enhancing the pattern types and also pattern recognition and data processing, everything will be done by the quantum computing at a faster rate. Okay, so there are other usages in the weather and disaster management, etc. So these are some important applications of the quantum computing. So in the front page, we also have another important article related to our polity and governance, where the Supreme Court says Lokpal order on the powers over the High Court judges. Okay, so there is some controversy going on in the Supreme Court related to the Lokpal order, which is issued in January. So on January 27th, there was an order by the Lokpal which says that High Court judges will come in the ambit of the Lokpal and Lok Ayukta Bill 2013. First of all, what is meant by Lokpal and Lok Ayukta? So, the Lokpal and Lok Ayukta are the independent anti-corruption bodies. At the center, we have Lokpal, and at the state, we have the Lok Ayukta. So, they will inquire into the corruption charges against the MPs, ministers, government officers and NGO directors or MDs, etc. Okay, so now these people are going to inquire into the corruption charges filed against the High Court judges. Earlier, High Court judges were not included in this Lokpal Lokayukta Act, but now the High Court judges are included in the ambit or jurisdiction of this Act. So anyone, if they file the corruption charges against the High Court judges, then the Lokpal and the Lokayukta will inquire into the case. Okay, so now this order has been stayed. This order has been stayed by the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court said that top anti-corruption ombudsman interpretation is very disturbing. So inclusion of the High Court judges is been very disturbing. This was the term used by the Supreme Court. Okay, so this is one important thing which you have to remember, and you have to remember the Lokpal and Lokayukta Bill of 2013, which was the outcome of the anti-corruption movement led by Anna Hazare in 2011. So in 2011, this movement has resulted to the Lokpal and Lokayukta Act of 2013. Next important article today, we have the Information and Broadcasting Ministry warns the OTTs against the obscene content. What are OTTs? OTTs are over-the-top streaming services. From the COVID pandemic, especially OTTs are playing a very important role in the information dissemination. Okay, so the Information and Broadcasting Ministry has given advisory to the OTT platforms regarding number 1, ensure of age-based classification. Okay, number 2, enforce age gating for mature content. What is age gating? It means that restriction of certain information with relation to the age. Okay, so children should not be made available to access certain type of obscene or pornography, etc. type of content. So that is age gating. Next, number 3, avoid prohibited content like the obscene, vulgar, pornography, etc. in the OTT platforms. So people should not be made to access the vulgar content in the OTT platforms. Number 4, follow IT rules. What is IT rules? We have the Information Technology, Intermediary Liability and Digital Media Ethics Code Rules 2021. So these is the IT rules for content moderation. Okay, so these rules must be followed for content moderation. Next, number 5, we have the compliance with the POSCO Act, IT Act, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Okay, so we have different types of acts where, like the Representation of Women Prohibition Act 1986, we have Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 2023, we have the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences, the POSCO Act, and we have the Information Technology Act 2000, etc. This will contain us from the obscene content. Okay, so the legal framework, this information, all these legal acts and this content we can use in writing answers related to the digital online platforms, okay, or online information dissemination, etc. For that we can use these acts also. Another important article which with the headline says that pilots could get weekly rest of 48 hours from July 1st, DGCA affidavit. So what is DGCA? It is Directorate General of Civil Aviation. So it is one of the organization running under the Ministry of Civil Aviation. So what it tells that weekly rest for pilots will be raised from 36 hours to 48 hours. Okay, from when? From July 1st. Let us see the important facts related to DGCA. Directorate General of Civil Aviation. So it is a regulatory body related to the civil aviation in India. Okay, Under which ministry it works? It works under the Ministry of the Civil Aviation. So what is the function or what is the responsibility entrusted to DGCA? We have the safety of the airlines, airworthiness of the flights, and the regulation compliance of the flights, etc. are all taken care by DGCA. Next, what are the different types of functions entrusted to it? Okay, so air safety and airworthiness, pilot licensing and training. We have passenger safety and consumer protection. We have the accident investigation led by DGCA. And also we have the implementation of international standards. And finally, we have the regulation of airlines and airports within the Indian territory. So all these are different types of functions which will come under the DGCA role. Okay, so these are important articles for today. So let us continue our class tomorrow. Thank you so much.